Good morning, my dear students. Today, our topic is about the active and passive voice in English. In general, in English, we have two voices. We have active and passive. So, what's the difference between them? In the active voice, we are going to focus on the subject because we want to know who is the subject. But in the passive one, the focus it would be on the action himself, that is to say, the object. So, according to the following examples in the active and the passive, so Ram killed Raven. Ram, it is the subject of the sentence, killed, the verb, and Raven, it is the object. So, the most important thing to know who killed Raven. So, the who killed the Raven, it is Ram. So, the focus was in the subject. But if I'd like to move this sentence from unactive one to passive one, so I am going to use Raven was killed by Ram. That is to say, I move the object at the beginning of the sentence, then the verb, then the object at the end. Now, the question is how to change a sentence from an active one to a passive one. Let us look at the following sentence. Ram killed Raven. Ram, it is the subject, killed the verb, and Raven, it is the object. If I'd like to make it a passive, then I'm going to move the raven as an object at the beginning of the sentence. Then I'm going to choose the perfect verb to be, that is to say, I'm going to choose the good and the suitable verb to be, then the past participle of the verb, and at the end I have by Ram. And by Ram, it is an optional. We are not going to use it all the time, just like the previous example. Now, dear students, we are going to talk about the very common rules that we are using when we are changing a sentence from an active sentence to passive one. Number one, we are going to bring the object at the beginning of the sentence. Number two, we are going to choose the correct verb, be. Number three, we are going to change the verb into participle. Number four, we are going to add the subject at the end of the sentence by using by plus subject. And this, it would be optional. Why? Because if I don't want to know the subject, so I am going not to use it at the end of the sentence. But if it is necessary to know it, so I am going to use by plus the subject. Now we are going to look about the changes that happening when we are changing a sentence from an active sentence to passive one. So the subject, for example, if the subject it is I is going to be changed to me, or from we to us, or from you to you, from they to them, from he to him, from she to her. Dear students, now we are going to take a look about the following examples in order to find out how could we change a sentence from an active one to a passive one. The first sentence, she helps him. She, it is the subject of the sentence, helps, verb, him, the object. According to the previous rules, number one, we are going to move the object from the end of the sentence to become at the beginning of the sentence. Number two, I am going to choose the suitable verb to be. According to what? According to the tense of the sentence, because the tense of the sentence it is in the present simple tense, so I'm going to use is. Why is not are? Because the object it is what? It is singular. Number three, I am going to change the verb into participle, and at the end of the sentence I'm going to use by hair. This is example number 1. Example number 2, I am buying a pen. Okay, a pen, it is the object of the sentence, so I'm going to move it to become at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, number 2, I am going to choose a suitable verb to be. I'm going to use is. Why? Because the object, it is what? It is in the singular, and we have the present continuous tense. Being, both. Why I use being? Being because the sentence in the continuous tense and the participle of the verb. At the end of the sentence, I'm going to use by me. Again, I said by me, it is an optional. Why? Because if I'd like to know the subject, so I'm going to use by me. If it is not necessary, so I can omit this option. There is a very important note here. Sometimes we have more than one object. So if there are two objects in the sentence, you can use any one of it. Okay, the first one or the second one, just like the following example. She told us a story. She, it is the subject of the sentence, told, the verb of the sentence, us, the first object, and a story, it is the second one. So we have two objects. I can use the first one to be at the beginning of the sentence, and also I can use the second one to be at the beginning of the sentence, just like the following example. We were told a story by her, or a story was told to us by her. The second example, for example, they appointed him an ambassador. So we have they, the subject, appointed means the verb of the sentence, him, the first object, and ambassador, it is the second object of the sentence. So I can use him to be at the first of the sentence, or an ambassador to be at the first or at the beginning of the sentence, just like he was appointed an ambassador, or an ambassador was appointed to him. Okay, and this would be the end of our lecture today. I'd like you to understand it carefully, and I'm going to meet you at the second and see you again.